Hi everybody, and welcome to your channel, Spanish with Elena, the best YouTube channel to learn to speak Spanish. In this video, I've made a list of the most common mistakes English speakers make when they are learning to speak Spanish. This video is made for anyone who speaks English and who is learning to speak Spanish. It doesn't matter your Spanish language level. Although at the very beginning you will see that the mistakes that I've tried to put emphasis on are just for beginners. But you will also find mistakes for more advanced learners. I really hope those of you who decide to watch this video find it helpful and useful. And by the way, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for watching this video. I always say this at the end of the video, but this time I wanted to say it at the very beginning instead. And please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Good luck, mucha suerte. 3, 2, 1, comenzamos. Primer error, first mistake. This is, like I told you, just for beginners. ¿Qué es tu nombre? In a word-by-word translation, it could work, but in real life, you know that we don't say it like that. We say either ¿Cuál es tu nombre? Or ¿Cómo te llamas? Segundo error. By the way, error means mistake in English. Estoy muy caliente. I'm really hot means tengo mucho calor. So you have to be very, very careful with this one because it could be a very embarrassing situation if you translate it as estoy muy caliente, because that means in Spanish that you are kind of way too sexy or way too horny, something like that. Okay? Be careful with this one. Tercer error. Estoy tan excitado or excitada. What's wrong here? I'm so excited means estoy tan entusiasmado or entusiasmada in Spanish. This is an example of what a false friend is. A word that looks like the same in both languages but has different meanings, and you have to be very careful because if you translate to be excited as estar excitado or excitada, once again you are telling someone that you are really horny, and I think that's not what you really mean. So once again, be very careful. Otro error muy frecuente es soy embarazada. This is another example of a false friend. To be embarrassed means estar avergonzado or avergonzada. So I am embarrassed would be translated as estoy avergonzado or avergonzada. To be pregnant means estar embarazada. What's wrong with this sentence in Spanish? Soy un arquitecto or soy una arquitecta. Both options are wrong. But why? Because in Spanish, when someone asks you, what do you do? ¿A qué te dedicas? When you answer, you never use the indefinite article. You just say, soy arquitecto or soy arquitecta. Now let's pay attention to this sentence. We have two mistakes here. ¿Eres casada or eres casado? No, soy soltera or no, soy soltero. In both sentences, the mistake is the same. The verb to be, in this case, is translated as estar instead of ser. So, ¿estás casada or estás casado? No, estoy soltera or no, estoy soltero. ¿Por qué esta frase no es correcta? Escucha a mí, por favor. Contrary to English, when we're using the imperative of the verb escuchar in Spanish, we don't use a preposition. We say escúchame, por favor, instead. Okay, too many wrong things in this sentence. Too many things that you have to pay attention to. Too many things we have to correct. Esta no es una problema fácil para resolver. First word we have to pay attention to in this sentence, the word problema. It is a masculine noun, even though it ends with an A, and most of the times nouns ending with an A in Spanish are feminine, but this is an exception. So that's why you have to say este instead of esta and un instead of una. And then, when you have the adjective fácil or the opposite, difícil, and then you have the preposition to plus a verb in English, in Spanish you have to translate that preposition as de instead of para. Fácil de resolver or easy to do, fácil de hacer, or the opposite, difficult to do, difícil de hacer. ¿Por qué está mal esta frase? La gente son muy amables en España. Porque la gente, people, en español es singular. La gente es muy amable en España. The adjective amable has to be singular too. Eso es grande. That's great doesn't mean eso es grande, but eso es genial. When you want to say that something is grande, in English you have to say that's huge, that's really big, or that's just big. But great means genial. It's an expression. That's great. Eso es genial. ¿Qué es tu color favorito? ¿Cuál es tu color favorito? Remember that in Spanish, whenever you're asking about what's your favorite something, if you're using the adjective favorito or favorita or preferido or preferida, the interrogative pronoun is cuál, never qué. ¿Qué es la capital de Italia? As you already know, the difference between qué and cuál in Spanish is not easy. It's a bit difficult. But there are a few examples that you can learn so you can practice and you can try to learn how to use them correctly. In this case, whenever you're asking about the capital of a country, you have to use the interrogative pronoun cuál, never qué. ¿Dónde es Atenas? En Grecia. Ser or estar? That's the key here. That's the question. When you're asking about where something is, the verb is estar, never ser. ¿Dónde está Atenas? En Grecia. Me hice daño en mi hombro jugando al tenis. Me hice daño en el hombro jugando al tenis. When you want to say in Spanish that you hurt a part of your body, don't use the possessive pronoun, but the relative one, the relative article instead. In this case, el hombro. Don't say my arm, but el brazo. Or don't say my leg, but la pierna. Picasso fue un artista grande. Picasso fue un gran artista. A great artist is translated as gran artista. And notice how the adjective goes exceptionally before the noun, gran artista. ¿Cómo de lejos o cómo de cerca está el hotel? When you want to ask about how far or how close something is, there's just one way to do that in Spanish, and that is ¿a qué distancia? That's the question. ¿A qué distancia está el hotel in this case? Me gusta tu azul corbata. Me gusta tu corbata azul. Even though, as you already know, the word order can change, the general rule is that the adjective goes after the noun, but sometimes it can go before the noun. But in this case, we are following the general rule. This is not an exception. So, me gusta tu corbata azul. No puedo entender qué estás diciendo. This is a tricky one because apparently, grammatically speaking, it's correct, the translation. But the way we say this sentence in real life Spanish would sound something like no entiendo lo que dices. In Spanish, we don't use the verb poder the same way you do in English. In this sentence, I wouldn't use the verb poder unless it is my fault that I cannot understand what you're saying because there's something wrong with me. But if it is not my fault, I wouldn't use the verb poder. I would just say no entiendo or no te entiendo. And about lo que. If you don't use the verb poder, it sounds weird to say no entiendo qué dices. That's not right. If you use the verb poder, you can say no entiendo qué dices. No puedo entender qué dices. But if you're not using the verb poder, instead of que, you have to translate what as lo que. Me gusta mucho ópera. There's a missing word here. ¿Sabes cuál es? Do you know what the missing word is? The missing word is la, the relative article. Me gusta mucho la ópera. When you're expressing that you like something or that you don't like something, you have to use the relative pronoun before the noun. In this case, ópera, feminine, singular, la. Me gusta mucho la ópera. Last mistake. ¿Cuál par de zapatos vas a llevar a la boda? ¿Los rojos o los negros? The expression which pair of whatever is always translated into Spanish as qué par de lo que sea. Never cuál. In English you use which, but in Spanish we will use what, qué. And that was all. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've learned to correct a few mistakes. I hope there were not so many. I hope you are already enjoying your summer vacations. And remember, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to my channel. There are more videos on the way. Hasta pronto. Adios. And feel free to comment anything you want below. You're more than welcome.